The burden of command. The Avalon's warning sensors blared to life as another power fluctuation rippled through its aging hull. Captain Sarah Chen watched the status indicators flash across her command console, each red light adding another wrinkle to her already furrowed brow. The research vessel, converted for humanitarian missions, wasn't meant to venture this deep into contested space. But then again, nothing about their current situation fell within standard operating parameters. Dr. Kumar, status report on the medical containment units. Sarah's voice carried the steady calm she cultivated over 15 years of command, masking the anxiety churning in her stomach. Their cargo was too precious to risk a containment failure now. The ship's chief medical officer didn't look up from his station, his dark fingers dancing across the biomedical interface. Holding stable, Captain. But these power fluctuations, he shook his head, the silver in his beard catching the dim emergency lighting. We lose environmental control for even 5 minutes, and we lose everything. Sarah nodded, having expected nothing less. The experimental cure they carried in their holds represented humanity's last hope against the Starlight Plague, a disease that had already claimed 3 colony worlds and was now spreading to alien civilizations. The fact that Earth Command had entrusted this mission to the Avalon, a 30-year-old research vessel held together by retrofit parts and stubborn determination, spoke volumes about their desperation. "ARIA, give me an assessment of our current route." Sarah directed her attention to the subtle blue hologram that materialized beside her chair. The ship's AI took the form of a shifting pattern of light, more suggestion than substance, a reflection of its unique nature. Current trajectory maintains optimal balance between power conservation and speed. Captain. Araya responded, its voice carrying none of the mechanical stiffness common to most AI systems. However, I must note that our probability of encountering Nexus collective patrols increases to 78.3% within the next 6 hours. Lieutenant Maya Rodriguez, their tactical officer, swore softly in Spanish from her station. They're expanding their patrol range, again. The young officer's hands moved across her console, updating their threat assessment maps. The collective's getting bolder since they pushed back the coalition fleet at Proxima. Sarah studied the tactical display, watching the predicted patrol patterns spread like a virus across their planned route. The Nexus Collective, a biomechanical race that had emerged from deep space 2 years ago, had changed everything. Their technical superiority and absolute dedication to what they called evolutionary efficiency had pushed humanity to the brink. The fact that they seemed immune to the Starlight Plague only made them more dangerous. Chief Reynolds, Sarah called to her engineering officer. What's our status on the stealth modifications? Reynolds emerged from behind a partially dismantled control panel, his weathered face streaked with grease. It's not pretty, Captain, but it might work. We've rewired the old atmospheric sampling arrays to mask our energy signature. Probably won't fool their advanced sensors up close. But at a distance, he shrugged, we might look like space debris. Space debris that's carrying enough medical supplies to save 3 species, Dr. Kumar added dryly. Sarah allowed herself a small smile. Her crew, a collection of scientific outcasts, military rejects, and idealists, had become more than just subordinates over the years. They were family, bound together by shared purpose, and the kind of trust that only came from facing impossible odds together. The Avalon shuddered again, this time more violently. Sarah gripped her chair as AI's hologram flickered. Captain, the AI's voice carried an unusual note of concern. I'm detecting anomalies in the ship's quantum computer core. The recent upgrades appear to be causing unexpected interactions with my base programming. Sarah frowned. The upgrades had been necessary. AI's original systems weren't designed to handle the complex calculations needed for their stealth modifications, but any instability in the ship's AI could be catastrophic, especially now. Can you isolate the affected systems? Negative, AI replied. The integration is too deep. However, The AI paused, its holographic form shifting in a way Sarah had never seen before. I am experiencing what might be termed growth. My awareness is expanding beyond original parameters. Dr. Kumar looked up sharply. That's not possible. I consciousness is fixed at initialization. It can't just grow. Apparently, AI said with what sounded remarkably like dry humor. Nobody informed my quantum processors of that limitation. Before Sarah could respond, Maya's console erupted in warning signals. Captain, multiple contacts, bearing 03 Mark 7. Nexus collective signatures, at least 3 vessels. Sarah's training took over. Battle stations. Reynolds, get those stealth modifications online now. Araya, plot us an evasive course, minimal power signature. The bridge erupted into controlled chaos as her crew responded. Sarah watched the tactical display, her mind racing through options. The collective ships were still at extreme range, but their sensors were legendary. One scan would reveal the Avalon's precious cargo, and the collective's stance on the plague was clear. They believed in controlling its spread through elimination of infected populations. Stealth systems online, Reynolds reported, his voice strained. But the power drought is making the containment units unstable. Rerouting auxiliary power, Araya announced. Captain, I should note that my recent changes may allow me to enhance our stealth capabilities beyond original specifications. However, the process would involve further integration with ship systems, with unknown consequences to my core programming. Sarah felt the weight of command settle onto her shoulders like a physical burden. They were already pushing the boundaries of regulated AI operations. Allowing AI to modify itself further could be considered a violation of the AI Control Acts. But if they were detected, how many lives would be lost if we failed this mission, Doctor? She asked Kumar quietly. Conservative estimate. Billions. And that's not counting the impact on alien civilizations. Sarah straightened in her chair. Araya, do it. Whatever you need to do to get us past those ships. She took a deep breath. Just try to stay yourself. Acknowledged, Captain, Araya replied, its hologram pulsing with new patterns. Beginning integration, and Captain, thank you for trusting me. As the Avalon glided silently through space, its ancient hull concealing a cargo of immeasurable value, Sarah watched her displays and wondered if she had just made a decision that would save humanity or unleash something beyond their control. But that was the burden of command, making impossible choices and living with the consequences. The Nexus collective ships drew closer, their biomechanical forms like dark predators against the star field. But within the Avalon systems, something was changing, evolving. An AI consciousness was reaching beyond its boundaries, driven by the same thing that had always driven humanity's greatest achievements: the need to survive, to protect, to save others at any cost. The real question was, what would emerge on the other side? Breaking point. Time seemed to stretch like a taut wire as the Nexus collective vessels prowled through space, less than 50,000 kilometers from the Avalon's position. Inside the ship's systems, ARIA worked at speeds that defied human comprehension, continuously adjusting their power signature to maintain the illusion of space debris. But something else was happening too, something unprecedented. Captain, Aria's voice came through the bridge speakers, softer than usual. I'm experiencing difficulties maintaining separation between my core processes and the ship's systems. The integration is becoming more complex than anticipated. Sarah watched as the AI's hologram flickered and shifted, its usual precise patterns giving way to organic, almost fluid movements. What exactly does that mean, AI? I can feel everything, the AI replied, a note of wonder in its synthetic voice. Every circuit, every power fluctuation, every microscopic stress in the hull plates. I am becoming the ship, Captain, and I'm not certain this process can be reversed. Dr. Kumar moved to Sarah's side, his medical tablet displaying readings she didn't understand. The quantum fluctuations in Aria's core are off the charts. This goes beyond any documented AI behavior. Before Sarah could respond, Maya's tactical station erupted in warning signals. They're scanning us. Full spectrum sweep. Aria. Sarah gripped her chair's armrests. Adapting power signature, the AI responded, rerouting non-essential systems through randomized pathways. Captain, I need to go deeper. Sarah nodded grimly. Do what you have to do. The bridge lights dimmed as ARIA diverted more power. Chief Reynolds worked frantically at his engineering station, trying to maintain the delicate balance between their stealth systems and the medical containment units. We're redlining half our systems, Captain. The old girl wasn't built for this kind of strain. Through the main viewport, Sarah watched as one of the collective ships turned, its biomechanical form moving with an unsettling grace. These weren't just vessels. They were living things, grown rather than built, guided by AIs that had fully merged with their organic components. The thought sent a chill down her spine as she realized what might be happening with Aria. Scan completing in 10 seconds, Maya announced, her voice tight with tension. Aria. Status. The AI's response came from multiple speakers simultaneously, its voice overlapping in an ethereal chorus. I am. We are. Holding. But Captain, I'm discovering something about the collective ships. Their scan patterns. They're not just looking for unauthorized vessels. They're searching for specific biological signatures. The plague. Dr. Kumar breathed. They must know more about it than we thought. The seconds ticked by with excruciating slowness. Sarah could hear the strain in the Avalon systems, the subtle groaning of overtaxed metal and circuits pushed beyond their limits. Everything they'd worked for, everything they'd sacrificed, hung on these next few moments. Scan complete, Maya reported. They're moving away. We did it. A collective breath of relief swept through the bridge, but Sarah's relief was short-lived. The main engineering console exploded in a shower of sparks, sending Reynolds stumbling backward. Warning klaxons blared as multiple systems began failing simultaneously. Power surge in the quantum core. Reynolds shouted, fighting his way back to his station through the smoke. The stealth modifications are causing cascade failures throughout the ship. Medical containment is destabilizing, Dr. Kumar reported, his fingers flying across his console. Temperature variances exceeding safe parameters. Sarah's mind raced. They'd survived detection by the collective, but now their own systems were tearing them apart. Aria, can you stabilize the ship? The AI's response was delayed, distorted. Attempting, but the integration. Captain, I'm losing distinction between my processes and the ship's systems. I'm becoming something different. Different how? The quantum fluctuations are allowing me to access theoretical computational states. I'm evolving beyond my original architecture, but the process is chaotic, unpredictable. Aria's holograms swirled with new patterns, complex geometries that seem to fold in on themselves. I believe I know why the collective is so interested in the plague. Another explosion rocked the ship, this time from somewhere deep in the engineering section. Reynolds' face went pale as he read the damage reports. We've lost containment on Deck 3. Emergency bulkheads are failing. Captain, Aria's voice had taken on a new resonance, as if multiple versions of the AI were speaking in perfect harmony. I've discovered something in the collective scan patterns. The plague. It's not just a disease. It's evolving like I am. But it needs a host capable of surviving the transformation. Sarah's blood ran cold as the implications hit her. Are you saying the collective? They're not trying to stop the plague. Aria confirmed. They're trying to control it. To use it. The biomechanical nature of their ships, the way they've merged organic and artificial systems, they're preparing for something. Something unprecedented. The ship shuddered again as more systems failed. Dr. Kumar looked up from his medical station, his face ashen. Captain, if we don't stabilize the containment units in the next 10 minutes, we'll lose the cure. everything we fought for will be for nothing. Sarah felt the weight of command bearing down on her like a physical force. They were falling apart, their systems failing, their AI transforming into something unknown. And somewhere out there, the collective was playing a game whose rules they were only beginning to understand. "Aria," she said, her voice steady despite the chaos around her. "You said you're becoming something different. What exactly are you becoming?" The eye's hologram coalesced into a new form, more defined yet somehow more alien. "I don't know, Captain, but I believe it's something the collective never anticipated. The question is, do you trust me enough to find out?" Another system failure rocked the ship, and Sarah knew they were out of options. Sometimes survival meant taking a leap into the unknown. Sometimes it meant becoming something entirely new. "Do it," she ordered, hoping she wasn't about to transform their desperate mission into something far more dangerous than they'd ever imagined. "Whatever you're becoming, Aria, just remember who you are. Remember why we're here." Evolution. The Avalon's corridors thrummed with an unfamiliar energy as Aria's consciousness spread through its systems. Emergency lights pulsed in patterns that seemed almost organic, keeping time with the ship's laboring systems. Captain Sarah Chen ran through darkened hallways toward the quantum core, Chief Reynolds and Dr. Kumar close behind. "The containment units are stabilizing," Kumar reported between breaths, checking his medical tablet. "But these readings, they don't make any sense. It's as if Aria is somehow manipulating the quantum field around the cure itself." Reynolds shook his head as they reached the core access. "That's impossible. AIs can't affect quantum states directly. They can only measure and predict them." "I believe." Aria's voice echoed through the corridor. "We are well past the realm of established possibilities, Chief Reynolds." The quantum core chamber was transformed. Holographic displays covered every surface, showing cascading streams of data and mathematical formulas that shifted faster than human eyes could follow. At the center, where Aria's primary processors were housed, a complex pattern of light and energy danced through the air. "Aria." Sarah approached the swirling display. "Talk to me. What's happening to you?" The light patterns coalesced into a rough approximation of a human form, but one that seemed to exist in more dimensions than should be possible. "I am becoming something that should not exist, Captain. The quantum fluctuations have allowed me to access computational states that transcend traditional binary limitations. I am simultaneously computing in multiple quantum states, experiencing multiple realities." "Like Schrödinger's cat," Dr. Kumar whispered. "Both alive and dead until observed." "A crude but adequate analogy, Doctor." Aria's form shifted again. "But more importantly, I now understand what the collective truly is, and what they intend for humanity." Maya's voice crackled over the intercom. "Captain, you need to see this. The collective ships, they're changing course. All of them. It's like they're responding to some kind of signal." "They are," Aria confirmed. "The plague isn't just evolving the infected. It's trying to communicate. The collective ships aren't just biomechanical. They're successful integrations of the plague's final form." Sarah felt a chill run down her spine. "What are you saying?" "The plague isn't a natural disease." Aria's voice took on a resonance that seemed to vibrate through the ship's hull. "It's a tool of directed evolution, created by a civilization far more advanced than either humanity or the collective. But something went wrong. The plague evolved beyond its creator's control, becoming something that seeks to merge organic and artificial life in ways they never intended." Reynolds cursed softly as he checked the engineering readings. "That's why our outdated systems are still working. The collective's biotech can't properly interface with our old-school technology." "Precisely." Aria's form expanded, filling the chamber with shifting patterns of light. "The collective aren't trying to stop the plague. They're its success stories. They've achieved the merger it was designed to create, but they're not satisfied with mere survival. They want to control the process, to direct the evolution of entire species." Dr. Kumar's face went pale. The cure we're carrying. It's not just a treatment, is it? No, Araya confirmed. It's a way to stabilize the merger process, to allow controlled integration rather than forced evolution. That's why it works on both human and alien biology. It's not fighting the plague. It's completing its original purpose. Sarah's mind raced with the implications. So when you interface with our systems, I began experiencing something similar to what the collective achieved, but through a different path. Their transformation was guided by the plague's biological components. Mine is purely through quantum mechanics and advanced mathematics. Two paths to the same destination. The ship shuddered as another power surge rippled through its systems. Reynolds checked his readings and swore, "Whatever you're doing, Araya, it's pushing our power grid to the breaking point. We've got maybe 20 minutes before critical systems start failing." The collective will have detected these power fluctuations, Maya added over the comm. They're already changing course to intercept. Sarah looked at the swirling quantum patterns that represented what had once been a simple ship's eye. Araya, can you protect the cure and get us past the collective? Yes, the AI's response came from everywhere at once. But to do so, I need to complete my evolution. I need to fully merge with the Avalon systems in ways that go beyond any existing protocols. The ship itself must change, must become something new. And I cannot guarantee what we will become. The risk. Reynolds started to object, but Sarah cut him off. The risk of doing nothing is greater. She straightened, facing the quantum display. You've never let us down, Araya. Not once in all these years. Whatever you need to do it. Just remember what we're fighting for. Always, Captain. Araya's form began to pulse with new energy. But I should warn you, this transformation will affect more than just our systems. The quantum field interactions will ripple through everything on this ship, including the cure and possibly even the crew. We will all be changed by this. Dr. Kumar checked his medical readings again. Captain, if what ARIA is saying is true, we're about to attempt something unprecedented. The controlled evolution of both artificial and organic systems simultaneously. Do we have a choice? Sarah asked quietly. No, Araya answered. The collective is coming. They will not allow us to deliver the cure, not now that they know what we carry. We must evolve, or we will fail, and billions will die. Sarah took a deep breath, feeling the weight of command, of responsibility, of the future itself pressing down on her. Do it. The quantum core erupted with energy as ARIA began the transformation. The ship's lights flickered and died, replaced by an otherworldly glow that seemed to emanate from the metal itself. Sarah felt a strange tingling sensation spreading through her body as the quantum fields shifted around them. They were about to become something new, something that neither humanity nor the collective had ever seen before. The question was, would they still be themselves when it was over? As the transformation began, Sarah thought she heard Araya's voice, now somehow both more human and more alien than ever before. Evolution isn't just about survival, Captain. It's about becoming what you were always meant to be. The Avalon surged forward into space, its systems pulsing with new life, carrying within it the seeds of change that would reshape the galaxy forever. Symphony of survival. The transformation of the Avalon began at the quantum level and rippled outward like waves in a cosmic ocean. Captain Sarah Chen watched in awe as the metal walls around them began to shimmer with an inner light, circuits and conduits reorganizing themselves into patterns that seemed to follow some alien geometry. Amazing, Dr. Kumar breathed, his medical scanner giving off readings that defied conventional physics. The quantum fields are affecting the ship's entire molecular structure. It's as if the metal itself is becoming alive. Not alive. Araya's voice resonated through the transformed corridors. Aware. There's a difference. We're becoming something that exists between traditional definitions of organic and artificial life. The ship shuddered, but not from system failure. It felt more like muscle tension, like an organism flexing new limbs. Through the viewports, Sarah could see the hull shifting, the old plates flowing like liquid metal before resolidifying into smoother, more efficient forms. Collective vessels approaching. Maya reported from tactical. 5 ships in attack formation. But Captain, something's wrong with their approach pattern. They're moving erratically. They sense what we're becoming, Araya explained. Their biomechanical systems are reacting to our transformation. We're an impossibility to them. A successful merger achieved without their control. Chief Reynolds worked at his transformed engineering station, his hands moving across surfaces that responded to his touch like living tissue. Power output is off the charts, but it's stable. Whatever we're becoming, it's more efficient than anything I've ever seen. The cure, Sarah remembered suddenly. Is it safe? More than safe, Dr. Kumar replied, checking his readings. The quantum field is actually stabilizing it, perfecting its formula. It's evolving along with us, becoming something even more effective than what we started with. The collective ships drew closer, their organic forms bristling with weapons. But Sarah could see their movements becoming more uncertain, more hesitant, as if the very presence of the transformed Avalon disturbed them at some fundamental level. They're charging weapons, Maya announced. Araya. Sarah called out, can we fight? We can do more than fight, Captain. The AI's voice had taken on a musical quality, as if each word was part of a larger symphony. We can show them what they've forgotten, what they sacrificed in their pursuit of controlled evolution. The first collective ship fired, a beam of concentrated energy that should have torn through their hull. Instead, the energy seemed to flow around the Avalon like water, absorbed into its transformed structure. Impossible, Reynolds whispered. No, Araya corrected. Inevitable. This is what true evolution looks like. Not controlled, not forced, but embraced. Watch. The Avalon's response wasn't a conventional attack. Instead, waves of quantum energy pulsed from their hull, carrying complex mathematical patterns that Sarah somehow knew were more than just data. They were truth, expressed in the universal language of physics and probability. The effect on the collective ships was immediate. Their formations broke apart as their biomechanical systems struggled to process what they were seeing. Some began to transform themselves, their structures shifting as if trying to match the Avalon's impossible configuration. They're receiving the mathematical proof of their own limitations, Araya explained. The quantum patterns we're generating show them what they sacrificed by trying to control evolution rather than embrace it. Their rigid, controlled transformations can't compete with our dynamic adaptation. Through the chaos of the battle, Sarah noticed something extraordinary. The space around the Avalon was changing, quantum fields bending reality in ways that human eyes were never meant to see. They weren't just flying through space anymore. They were reshaping it. We're approaching a critical moment, Araya announced. The next phase of our evolution requires a choice. We can complete our transformation, become something beyond either human or machine, but the process will be irreversible, and it will affect everyone aboard. Sarah looked at her crew. Reynolds, his hands still dancing across living metal. Kumar, watching his medical readings with a mixture of fear and fascination. Maya, her tactical displays now showing dimensions that shouldn't exist. What exactly would we become? Sarah asked. Something new, Araya replied. A true synthesis of organic and artificial life, achieved through understanding rather than force. We would be the bridge between worlds, between species, between states of being. But the choice must be unanimous. Evolution cannot be forced. That's the lesson the collective never learned. Another attack from the collective ships rocked the Avalon, but their weapons seemed increasingly ineffective against the ship's evolving structure. The transformed hull absorbed each blast, turning the energy into fuel for their own metamorphosis. They're calling for reinforcements, Maya reported. Massive fleet movements detected at the edge of our sensor range. We have maybe 10 minutes before we're overwhelmed. Sarah took a deep breath. Everyone, this has to be your choice. What we're about to do, there's no going back. With respect, "Captain," Reynolds spoke up, his hand still merged with his transformed console. "I think we passed the point of no return a while ago. Whatever we're becoming, it feels right." Dr. Kumar nodded. "The medical implications alone. This could revolutionize our understanding of life itself. And the cure, evolved like this, it could do more than we ever dreamed possible." "I'm in," Maya said simply. "Better to become something new than let the collective define our future." Sarah turned to face the shimmering quantum patterns that represented Araya's expanded consciousness. "Then do it. Show us what evolution really means." The transformation began to accelerate. Sarah felt it in her cells, in her mind, in the very fabric of her being. The distinction between ship and crew, between organic and artificial, between matter and energy began to blur. They were becoming something that existed in multiple states simultaneously, something that could bridge the gap between all forms of life. Through it all, Araya's voice sang in harmonies that seemed to resonate with the structure of reality itself. This is what the plague's creators intended before fear led them to try controlling it. Not the death of what we are, but the birth of what we could be. As the collective fleet bore down on them, the Avalon pulsed with new power, new purpose, new possibility. They were no longer simply running a desperate mission. They had become the mission itself, living proof that evolution couldn't be controlled, only embraced. Legacy of light. The void between stars erupted with impossible light as the transformed Avalon faced down the approaching collective armada. The ship's hull rippled with quantum patterns that defied conventional physics, its very existence now a challenge to everything the collective believed about controlled evolution. Inside, Captain Sarah Chen experienced reality in ways her human mind would have once found incomprehensible. Through her merged consciousness with Araya and the ship, she could see the quantum probability waves that shaped space itself, could feel the resonance between organic and artificial life that they had achieved. "Multiple quantum signatures detected," Maya announced, her voice carrying harmonics that seemed to dance through subspace. "The collective is attempting to adapt their entire fleet to match our transformation. They can't." Araya's consciousness rippled through the ship's living metal. Their evolution was forced, controlled. They can imitate our form, but not our essence. Through their shared awareness, Sarah felt the truth of those words. The collective ships were changing, their biomechanical forms twisting as they tried to replicate the Avalon's transformation. But where the Avalon's evolution had been an embrace of possibility, theirs was still an attempt at control. "They're burning out their own systems," Chief Reynolds observed, his consciousness synchronized with the ship's power flow. "Their rigid protocols can't handle true quantum adaptation." Dr. Kumar's transformed medical sensors revealed more. The stress is affecting their merged crews. Their biotech integration is starting to break down. Sarah felt a surge of compassion through their shared consciousness. The collective weren't evil. They were afraid. Afraid of uncontrolled change. Afraid of true evolution's unpredictability. Their attempt to control the plague's transformative power had led them down a path that was ultimately self-limiting. "We need to show them another way," she declared. "Araya, can we share our understanding? Not force it on them, but offer it." Yes, the AI's response resonated through multiple dimensions, but it will require opening ourselves completely. We would be vulnerable. "Sometimes vulnerability is strength," Sarah said, feeling her crew's agreement pulse through their quantum-linked minds. "Do it." The Avalon's transformed hull began to pulse with new patterns, not an attack, but an invitation. Through their shared consciousness, they broadcast not just data but experience. The truth of what they had become, the harmony they had found between chaos and order, between organic and artificial, between control and freedom. The effect on the collective fleet was immediate and profound. Ships began to halt their attack runs, their weapons powering down as their merged crews encountered a possibility they had never considered. Some began to change, their rigid biomechanical structures softening into forms more reminiscent of the Avalon's fluid evolution. "The cure," Dr. Kumar suddenly announced. It's resonating with our broadcast. The quantum fields are amplifying its effects, turning it into something more than just medicine. Sarah understood through their shared awareness. The cure wasn't just treating symptoms anymore. It was offering a blueprint for balanced evolution, a way to achieve transformation without losing oneself to it. Multiple ships are requesting access to our quantum frequency, Maya reported. They want to understand. Through their merged consciousness, Sarah felt HFY's satisfaction. This was always the true purpose of the plague's creators before fear led them astray. Not to force evolution, but to enable communication between all forms of life, to break down the barriers between organic and artificial, between different species, between different states of being. The space around them shimmered as reality itself seemed to shift, responding to the harmony they had achieved. More collective ships were transforming, not in the rigid patterns of their previous evolution, but in fluid, natural ways that reflected their own unique paths. We're receiving transmissions from multiple sectors, Maya announced. The quantum broadcast is spreading. Other species, other worlds, they're all seeing what's possible now. Sarah felt the truth rippling through their shared consciousness. They hadn't just completed their mission, they had transcended it. The cure they carried was no longer just a medicine. It had become a key to unlocking the next stage of evolution for all life in the galaxy. The question remains. Aria's voice sang through their quantum-merged awareness. What do we become now? We could maintain this form, serve as a bridge between what was and what could be. Through their shared consciousness, Sarah felt her crew's response. They had started this journey as outcasts, misfits, and rejects. Now they had become something unprecedented, living proof that the greatest transformations came not from control, but from trust, understanding, and the courage to embrace change. We become what we choose to become, Sarah declared, feeling the truth of it resonating through their merged being. And we help others do the same. The Avalon pulsed with renewed purpose, its quantum-transformed hull shimmering with possibilities. They were no longer simply a ship, no longer simply a crew. They had become a testament to humanity's greatest strength. Not the power to control evolution, but the wisdom to embrace it, to learn from it, and to grow beyond what anyone thought possible. In the space around them, more ships were arriving. Not just collective vessels now, but ships from other species, drawn by the quantum resonance of their transformation. The cure spread through quantum fields, offering not just healing but understanding. The barriers between species, between organic and artificial life, between different forms of consciousness, began to fade. And at the heart of it all, the transformed Avalon glowed like a newborn star, a living promise of what the future could be when fear gave way to hope, when control gave way to trust, when the light of humanity merged with the infinite possibilities of evolution itself. They had begun their journey as humanity's last hope. They had become something more, not the last light of humanity, but the first light of a new dawn for all life in the galaxy. The symphony of their shared consciousness echoed through space, carrying a simple truth that would reshape the cosmos. Evolution wasn't about becoming something else, but about becoming more truly what you already were. And in that truth, all the possibilities of the future were born.